Have you ever found yourself kind of battling your plate
Yeah.
or maybe your reflection?
Yeah, feeling like you're maybe constantly losing a fight against your own, like, cravings and self-doubt.
Exactly. And what if that whole battle, it wasn't really about willpower at all,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe more about those, well, secret conversations, the ones happening inside your own head?
Right.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, into the really profound impact of your inner voice on your relationship with food and with your body.
Yeah.
Our source for this deep dive is Karen Koenig's really insightful book, Words to Eat By.
Great book.
And our mission today really is to give you a shortcut, a way to understand how that inner voice shapes your eating, your well-being.
And maybe uncover some surprising things along the way.
Absolutely. And practical strategies, too, that can genuinely help you change that internal conversation.
We'll be digging into the why and the how of eating, but looking at it from the mental side of things.
Not just nutrition plans or diets.
Exactly. It's about the mental landscape. The goal is really empowering you, the listener, to become the kind of eater and, the caretaker for yourself that you truly want to be.
By changing the narrative inside.
Precisely. Word by word.
It's kind of wild how often we're just, well, on autopilot with our thoughts, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're asleep at the wheel when it comes to that inner voice, just letting it drive things without much conscious thought.
It really is. And what's so insightful, I think, is how deeply ingrained our self-talk can actually be.
Right.
The author, Koenig, she shares this personal story about an imaginary childhood friend she had called Jane.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and Jane was like this inner guide offering wisdom, compassion, sometimes even, chiding words.
Uh-huh.
And it highlights how an internal voice can steer us positively, but often the unhelpful voices, they're just louder.
Like the siren song of ice cream, maybe.
Or pizza, yeah.
Yeah,
They're more forceful, pulling us off course.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But where do these voices, these really powerful inner voices, the good and the bad ones,
Yeah.
where do they actually come from? It can feel like they just kind of appear.
Yeah, it can feel that way. The book points to two key dynamics,
Okay.
internalization and modeling.
Right. Internalization and modeling.
So internalization, that's basically when we absorb how other people, especially, parents, maybe the media, how they value us.
Ah.
So if parents often criticized our weight, for instance, we sort of soak that up, we internalize that negative view, and then we adopt their critical tone. Their words become our words.
Like calling ourselves lazy or something.
Exactly, or saying we have no common sense. And then modeling as well, it's when we unconsciously copy what our parents say or do.
Like mimicking them.
Yeah, without even realizing it sometimes. Maybe a father who makes fun of unfit people.
Oh, yeah.
Or a mother who cries when she steps on the scale, calling herself names for being fat. Those actions, those words, they become our own judgments, our own self-talk. And often we don't even realize the communication is happening,
Wow. And it's not just our immediate family then, is it?
Yeah, not at all.
Our whole culture, this sort of looks-obsessed culture you hear about, that must play a massive role too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with body image stuff.
Oh, absolutely. A huge role. The source really emphasizes how society tends to lionize people who suffer to reach goals, right?
Yeah, the no pain, no gain thing.
Exactly. And it kind of ridicules those who fail. We worship winners, detest losers, often ignoring really significant factors like, money, genetics, even ethnic bias. And this is especially intense when it comes to body image. There's just rampant fat shaming, so much weight bias, both conscious and unconscious.
It's everywhere.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the book shares the case of Eric, which is just heartbreaking. He was bullied constantly, called fatty, liar, liar,
Oh, God.
until he begged his parents to put him on a diet.
Oh, as a kid.
Yeah. And sadly, that started this lifelong pattern of destructive eating for him. It's a powerful example of how that external cultural pressure gets internalized.
And becomes this deep negative inner script.
Exactly.
I feel like we're just constantly bombarded by shoulds and shouldn'ts about food,
Mm-hmm.
It actually reminds me of that doesn't mentality the author talks about from her grandmother.
That's a perfect connection. Yeah, doesn't. It's an archaic word, right, for dares not.
Right.
And it perfectly captures that kind of bossy, judgmental inner voice that many people who struggle with eating develop. The book calls them dysregulated eaters.
Okay, so people whose eating isn't really driven by hunger.
Right, more by emotions, thoughts, external cues. And the
Right.
source is really clear.
Right.
Words like should, must, ought to, have to, supposed to, need to.
The big ones.
Yeah, They are particularly damaging for your self-esteem, your self-image.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because for a lot of us, those words feel like motivation, don't they?
They do feel like it, yeah.
So why are they so incredibly harmful if our intention is good? Like if we want to eat better or lose weight?
Well, the core insight here is that these words, they act like emotional traps.
Traps. How so?
If you connect it to the bigger picture, they're inherently shame-based.
Shame-based. Okay.
And they're external motivators. They basically imply you're defective, that you need fixing right now.
I see. So instead of inspiring action?
They actually raise our defenses. We feel attacked, even if it's by our own thoughts. And that often leads to eventual surrender. You think, well, because I can't do what I should do, I must be no good.
That makes sense. It feels like pressure.
Exactly. And the author makes this really provocative point. She says the only thing we actually need to do in life is die.
Wow.
Everything else. It's optional. It has consequences, sure, but it's optional. Things are wishes, desires, preferences, maybe.
So it really makes you question.
Yeah. How much unnecessary pressure are we putting on ourselves with all these shoulds and musts? And what's it costing us mentally?
Right. Like that psychologist Albert Ellis said.
Stop shooting on yourself. Yeah. Famous advice for a reason.
So if those shoulds are basically toxic,
Yeah.
what does this dysfunctional self-talk actually sound like day to day? Can you give us some, like, concrete examples?
Absolutely. The source lays out some really clear examples across different categories.
Okay.
So for food and eating, you might hear thoughts like, oh, I might as well clean my plate now because I've already blown it.
Oh, I have that one.
Right. Or just, I want it, so I'm going to eat it. No thought beyond the immediate impulse.
Mm-hmm.
Then weight and size. Thoughts like, no one will ever want to date me at this size. Or I can't possibly be happy if I don't lose weight.
Oof. Harsh.
Very. And for people trying to change, the thought is often, look, nothing's going to change anyway. Nothing works. What's the point? Why even bother?
That's just pure defeatism.
Totally. And there are other categories too, like feeling defective or thoughts about emotions, like if I don't use food to feel better right now, I'll just fall completely apart.
Wow.
An activity or exercise, like I hate exercise, so I must just be lazy.
Yeah.
Jillian's case study in the book shows this perfectly. Her self-talk was exactly that. Nothing's going to change. What's the point? And it directly fueled her feeling stuck, defeated.
So the thoughts create the reality, in a way.
In a big way. And sometimes it's like a double negative whammy, you know?
How do you mean?
Like you have a hopeful thought, maybe, wow, how exciting, I actually have the power to change this.
Okay, yeah.
And immediately the judgment voice jumps in. Who are you kidding? Nothing ever changes for you.
Ugh. That's brutal.
It is. And that kind of self-talk, ultimately, it basically ensures you won't get healthy. You won't have that comfortable relationship with food you want.
Okay, that sounds exhausting,
Okay.
honestly, just listening to it.
It is exhausting to live with.
So if that negative self-talk is clearly working against us, this feels like the pivot point. What actually makes for constructive, smart self-talk? What's the secret sauce?
Well, smart self-talk is pretty much the exact opposite of what most dysregulated eaters are doing internally.
The opposite. Okay.
And while the source mentions there are 6 elements to it, it really highlights loving self-talk as being paramount, the most important piece.
Loving self-talk. Tell me more about that.
It's about using words, specific words that underscore that you are lovable, precious, special, unique, and worth the effort.
Worth the effort to guide yourself positively.
Yes. It comes from the heart, and it's directed to the heart. It embodies unconditional love, compassion, kindness, respect.
Mm-hmm.
It basically conveys that you are imperfectly perfect,
Yeah.
you know, and you deserve the best in life, not if you lose weight or if you eat perfectly, but right now.
That feels radically different. But, for many people, the idea of self-compassion, it might feel a bit counterintuitive, especially if you're trying to achieve goals.
Right, like it's letting yourself off the hook.
Exactly. Like it's weak or it means you won't be motivated. How does the book address that skepticism, especially for those of us who've always used a kind of tough love approach on ourselves?
Yeah, that's a really crucial point, and the book tackles it head on. It basically challenges that common belief that self-kindness kills motivation.
Okay.
It argues, quite strongly actually, that self-compassion is a powerful motivator for transformation, not a weak one.
More powerful than being hard on yourself.
Potentially, yes. What's so insightful here is the emphasis on 4 key things: self-compassion, self-acceptance, self-validation, and self-value worth love.
Okay, let's break those down a bit.
So self-compassion. Loz's case in the book is a great example. She was a high-achieving student trying to just power through her eating issues like she did with school.
Like willpower.
Right. And she found that self-compassion was the missing piece. It allowed her to soften, to understand, and that's what actually fueled change.
Okay. And self-acceptance.
Self-acceptance isn't about approving of where you are, necessarily. It's not saying, I love being overweight if you don't.
Right.
It's about recognizing yourself as is right now without the self-hatred. Because you can't really change something you're constantly fighting against or hating. Acceptance allows space for change.
That makes sense. And self-validation.
This is a big one. It's about trusting your own internal wisdom, knowing what rings true for you.
Instead of always looking outside.
Exactly. Instead of constantly seeking external approval or validation, which is a huge challenge today, right, with social media culture.
Definitely.
Koenig shares her own experience validating the book Fat is a Feminist Issue back when her friends were skeptical. Trusting her gut proved powerful for her own emotional health journey.
So trusting yourself.
And finally, self-value, self-worth, self-love. The book argues this should be a constant, a given, like a full-throated yes to yourself.
A baseline.
Yes, because fundamentally we fight for what we love,
Yeah.
and that includes fighting for ourselves, for our well-being. Aldo's case study is really moving here. He was a retired police officer, just burdened by decades of shame. And his shift was from feeling I'm worthless to this profound realization I am deserving and worthy of love, caring, and enjoying a happy life. That's the transformation.
That is powerful.
Yep.
But, okay, what about that feeling of, faking it till you make it?
Yes, the classic lament.
If we don't really believe these nice things we're trying to say to ourselves at first, how do we make this new constructive self-talk actually stick? So many of us feel like, well, frauds when we try it.
It's such a common feeling, and the source addresses it directly. It explains that basically you need to continue practicing until your behavior lives up to your words.
Keep practicing even if it feels fake.
Exactly. It's not about instant conviction. Think about learning to drive a car or starting a new job. You don't feel instantly competent, right?
No, definitely not.
You don't go around announcing how clueless you are. You try to act as if you belong. You try to be worthy of the role. You practice.
So it's like building a skill.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting. The author references Amy Cuddy's famous 2012 TED Talk.
Oh, the power posing one.
That's the one. Your body language may shape who you are. Cuddy showed how adopting high-power poses like the Superman or Wonder Woman pose can actually increase testosterone, reduce cortisol.
And make you feel more powerful, less anxious.
Right. Now, imagine coupling a power pose with some constructive self-talk, like standing tall at the refrigerator and saying to yourself, whatever I think I'm looking for right now, it isn't actually in here.
Okay, I can picture that. Combining the physical and the mental.
Exactly. The core idea is neuroplasticity, really. The more you do a behavior, the more you practice a thought pattern, the more your brain adapts. It rewires itself. And soon, you just do it the new way, without as much conscious effort.
Okay, that offers some hope for the faking of feeling. It's just practice.
It's practice, consistency.
So this whole deep dive, it's really custom tailored for you, the listener, right? To help transform your relationship with food. How do we put this smart self-talk into practice in those critical moments, the moments that really matter? Where do we start?
Yeah, that's the key question. And the book breaks it down brilliantly into what it calls choice points.
Choice points. Okay.
These are those specific moments where our self-talk can make all the difference, where we can shift from being on that unconscious autopilot to making a conscious, empowered choice.
Got it. So what's the first one?
Okay. Choice point 1, food thoughts. This is when you first feel that desire to eat.
The initial urge.
Right. Instead of just mindlessly reaching for food, the idea is to train yourself to pause and ask some questions. Like,
What?
okay, how hungry am I really? On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe. Or, if what I'm feeling isn't actually physical hunger, what else might it be? Am I bored, stressed, tired?
Exploring the feeling.
Exactly. And then the self-talk command might be, I will eat only if I am truly hungry enough.
Taking a moment to check in.
Art's case in the book is relevant here. He was a computer programmer, terrified of dying after a heart attack. He actually liked the idea of putting commands into his head, like programming.
Using his skill set.
Yeah. And that helped him shift from really chaotic eating to actually connecting with his true appetite signals.
Okay, that makes sense. What's next?
Choice point 2, food craving choice.
Mm.
This is all about distinguishing, genuine physical cravings from those more disordered, maybe emotionally driven thoughts.
The difference between my body needs fuel and my brain wants comfort.
Kind of, yeah. So the self-talk here could be something like, you know what? All foods, except maybe ones I'm allergic to, are actually okay to crave and okay to eat. Removing the judgment.
Taking the power away from forbidden foods.
Right. Or maybe, okay, I acknowledge this craving. Now, I will try to balance out the nutritional and health consequences with what I crave to eat. It's about conscious consideration, not just reacting.
Okay. Then what happens during eating?
That's choice point 3. During eating. And this really focuses on mindful eating.
Being present with the food.
Exactly. So practicing statements like, okay, am I eating slowly? Am I actually tasting my food? Or I'm enjoying focusing on the taste and the texture of this bite. Maybe letting it sit on my tongue for a moment.
Slowing down.
And crucially, staying attuned. No matter what else is going on around me, I'll try to stay connected to my appetite signals. Do I know if I'm still hungry, or am I getting full? Am I satisfied?
Checking in continuously.
Yes. Which leads nicely into choice point 4, ending eating. This is often tricky knowing when to stop.
Definitely. Especially if it tastes good.
Right. So the self-talk guides can be things like, it's actually okay to leave food on my plate.
Permission to not clean the plate.
Yes. Or that powerful one. Eating more right now won't help prevent anyone from starving anywhere else in the world.
Countering that guilt.
And
Yeah.
I can stop eating even when this food tastes delicious. Recognizing that peak flavor passes and eating often becomes less interesting after a point anyway.
Okay. And the last one. After you finished.
Choice point 5, post-eating check-in. This is absolutely critical. It's about cultivating pride, or at least neutrality, instead of the usual guilt or shame spiral.
Moving away from I blew it.
Exactly. Reframe I blew it as maybe, okay, my eating experiment just taught me what I don't want to do again next time. Learning, not failing.
That's a great reframe.
Source offers other fantastic ones too, like instead of I fell off the wagon,
Yeah.
how about I was testing gravity?
I like that.
Or instead of I pigged out, maybe I was exercising my intestinal muscle, not my brain muscle.
Stick some humor. Takes the sting out.
It really does. It's all about learning from the experience, reflecting without that harsh self-condemnation. So what this whole framework gives you, listener, is essentially a roadmap.
A guide through those tricky moments.
Yeah, it helps transform eating from this unconscious reaction into a series of more intentional choices. It gives you back a sense of control, of agency.
That roadmap sounds so practical, really useful. And, this deep dive, it isn't just about when you're eating alone, is it?
No, absolutely not.
It's about navigating the real world, too.
Yeah.
So what about social eating? Because that can be a complete minefield for so many people.
Oh, you're absolutely right. A minefield is a good word. Social situations involving food are often, frankly, nightmares for people the book calls dysregulated eaters.
Why is that?
Well, there's intense self-consciousness, often shame, a lot of anxiety about being judged by others. And we tend to tune in much more to what other people are doing or thinking rather than listening to our own internal appetite cues.
Focusing outward instead of inward.
Exactly. The source actually gives some really compelling side-by-side comparisons, how a dysregulated eater, or DE, might self-talk versus how a normal eater, or NE, might talk to themselves in the exact same situation.
Oh, that sounds useful. Like what?
Okay, so imagine you're ordering at a restaurant. The DE might think, oh gosh, I'm taking way too long to decide. Everyone's waiting. I'll just quickly order what she's having.
Familiar feeling.
Right. Whereas the NE might think, okay, even if it takes me a bit longer than everyone else, I want to figure out what food will actually satisfy me right now.
Big difference in focus.
Huge difference. Or think about dessert. The DE might work. Oh no, what will everyone say if I order dessert when nobody else is?
The spotlight effect.
Totally. While the NE might think, they have the best tiramisu here. I think I'll have some. Maybe see if someone wants to share one with me.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it? Between that external anxiety and just internal wisdom or preference.
It really is.
And it seems like our families, our partners, even just going to parties, they can all trigger this difficult self-talk dynamic too.
Yeah.
How does the book suggest navigating those specific relationships?
Yeah. Those relationships are often ground zero for these issues. That childhood brainwashing, as the book calls it, from family, it often carries right into adulthood.
The old patterns stick.
They really do. So the source gives examples of unhealthy versus healthy self-talk when you're interacting with family. An unhealthy thought might be, oh God, my parents are going to be so upset or disappointed that I've put on weight again.
Right, anticipating judgment.
Exactly. A healthier reframing could be, okay, if my parents make comments about my eating or my weight, I'll try to remember it probably comes from their own anxiety or worry about me, and I can respectfully decline to engage in that specific conversation. Setting a boundary.
That's helpful. Not getting drawn in.
Mm-hmm. Gail's case study in the book really highlights this. Criticism from her mother about her weight since childhood just kept holding her back. That negative self-talk was so deeply ingrained, it prevented her from even seeing her own successes in managing her eating.
Wow. It runs deep.
It really does. And then, dating, long-term relationships, they add another whole layer of complexity.
I bet.
Patrick's case is interesting here. He was an OR nurse, and he compulsively ate when he wasn't working, partly due to the stress and the restricted environment at work. His self-talk needed to shift. He had to give himself permission to actually relax when he wasn't working and to trust that food would be available, that he didn't need to hoard or binge.
Learning to trust himself in the situation.
Yes. And for long-term partners, the source highlights self-talk around self-responsibility and also deserving love and touch regardless of your size.
That's huge.
It is. Moving from thoughts like, well, I don't blame him for not wanting to touch me at my size, to something like, I deserve to be touched and loved no matter what my size is right now.
Claiming your worth.
Absolutely. And even things like parties and buffets, what normal eaters might call heaven.
Can feel like hell for others.
Exactly. Total hell for dysregulated eaters. Quinn's story shows how she learned to manage these situations. She had bulimia, and parties were a huge trigger. She learned to use self-talk to soothe her social anxieties, and she even gave herself permission to gain a few pounds temporarily if it meant reducing the intense pressure she felt to purge after social events, which was actually a really healthy, constructive solution for her.
Finding what works for her, specifically.
Yes, adapting the strategies.
I can really relate to that idea of constantly feeling like you're failing if you don't hit some often unrealistic mark.
Perfectionism.
Yeah. How do we cultivate this positive self-talk consistently, especially around something as, powerful and sometimes loaded as pride? Feeling proud of ourselves.
Pride. Yes, for some people, that's truly the P word.
Why is that?
It can have really negative associations, maybe from childhood. There's a case mentioned where a client couldn't even say the word pride because of trauma around being called arrogant.
Wow.
But the book redefines pride really beautifully. It's not about arrogance. It's about recognizing the effort you put in, not just the outcome, but the trying.
Focusing on the process.
Exactly. And the source introduces two really helpful mental constructs here: the observing ego and the ego ideal.
Okay. Observing ego and ego ideal.
So, the observing ego. Think of it as the non-judgmental part of you, the part that simply notices behavior, like watching a man trip on the sidewalk without immediately thinking, what an idiot, just observing the event.
Okay, like a neutral witness.
Precisely. And the ego ideal is your inner image of your best self. Not a perfect self, but your best self. It guides you, encourages you to strive, but without demanding perfection.
So one observes, the other guides.
Right. And combining these helps you maintain motivation. You can observe your actions non-judgmentally, and your ego ideal gently nudges you forward. It fosters self-reflection without that harsh judgment.
That sounds much more sustainable.
It is. And it raises an important question for you, the listener. Are you stuck in simplistic, black and white, right-wrong thinking? Or are you developing more critical thinking? The ability to understand context.
Context matters.
Immensely. The book uses a candy bar example. Eating one candy bar mindfully, really savoring it as a sweet indulgence, that can make you feel proud of your choice and your presence. But maybe eating 3 of them really quickly because you're angry or stressed, that would likely lead to shame. Same food, different context, different feeling.
That's a great distinction. The context, the why behind the action, totally changes how we feel about it. And how we should talk to ourselves about it.
Exactly right.
So bringing this all together,
Yeah.
what does this mean for just daily life? What are some simple, actionable takeaways maybe we can hold on to from all this?
Well, the author shares some of her own go-to mantras, which I think are really useful.
Oh, like what?
Things like, I'm doing the best I can right now.
Okay, that's gentle.
Yeah. Or, you know what? This is good enough. Fighting that perfectionism.
Good enough is okay.
And the classic, this too shall pass. Just reminding yourself that most pain, whether it's emotional or physical, it does eventually ease up. It provides perspective.
Those are helpful reminders.
And she also offers a really powerful question to ask yourself, especially when distressing memories or old feelings get triggered and you start to feel unsafe. Ask yourself very directly, am I safe right now?
Bringing yourself to the present.
Exactly. It helps you distinguish between past trauma or fear and the reality of your present situation. It can really reduce anxiety in the moment, allowing you to calm down and make conscious choices instead of just reacting to those old fears.
Am I safe now? That's a good one to keep in your pocket.
Definitely.
Wow. We have covered so much ground. We've taken a real deep dive into the just profound impact of self-talk on your relationship with food, with your body, from really understanding where it comes from, family, culture, to identifying those destructive patterns.
Right. The shugs, the judgment.
And then, crucially, learning how to cultivate the constructive ones.
Yeah.
The loving self-talk is just so clear that your inner voice is this incredibly powerful tool for transformation.
It really is. And remember, this whole approach, it isn't really about willpower, is it?
No.
It's about word power. It's about consciously choosing self-compassion, choosing self-acceptance, choosing self-love, even when it feels difficult. You, the listener, you genuinely have the power to revolutionize your self-talk, syllable by syllable, word by word, and truly guide yourself towards becoming the kind of eater and, the kind of caretaker for yourself that you really want to be.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now, moving forward from here?
Yeah.
Maybe consider this. If your current self-talk is constantly kind of pushing you or dragging you towards a destination you don't actually want to reach, just imagine what could shift. What might change if you simply decided, starting today, to try and be as kind, as patient, and as understanding with yourself as you would probably be with a good friend going through the same struggles?
Yeah. What would that look like?